banging terror. Demonic predators. And terrifying screams. On patrol, cops have faced horrors they never imagined. These aren't just routine calls. These are heart-stopping stories shared by police officers. This unsettling footage was captured in 2016 by both a police dash cam and a body camera. Officers had been dispatched after witnesses reported a violent assault. But the reason behind the call was chilling. The caller claimed it was a zombie attack. At first, the responding officer assumed it had to be some kind of prank. But as he arrived, he was met with a shocking sight. A man positioned over another, doing something no one could have ever imagined. The officer shouted, but nothing seemed to break the trance. Eventually, the suspect was restrained, and after that moment, no further details were released.
Hey, let me see your hands! Let me see your hands! Let me see your hands!
Some believe the case was classified. The fact that it really happened leaves one terrifying question. Was this an actual zombie encounter? Demonic frenzy. Back in 2016, a disturbing clip was recorded that left people shaken. A young girl named Sophia, known in the area for her odd behavior, was seen running up to cars and forcing them to stop. She screamed wildly, thrashing her arms against the vehicles like she had completely lost control of herself. The bizarre outburst quickly drew a large crowd of onlookers, each wondering what had taken hold of her. Police soon arrived to investigate the chaos. While some dismissed, others were adamant that no substance could explain the way she moved, insisting instead that Sophia had been possessed by something far darker. Haunted search. On November 22, 2021, 2 police officers were dispatched to a house after the tenant suspected someone had broken in. The young woman had noticed the front door wide open and, terrified, called for help.
I left for a while to go shopping.
Anyone live in the house?
Yes, my husband and our 2 kids, but they're out of town right now. They're with his parents. 2 upstairs and 1 downstairs.
All right, we're gonna have to go and search the house. Is it okay if we go?
Yeah, of course.
You don't have any like pets or dogs or anything?
No.
The officers entered cautiously, their body cameras recording everything. The house looked half abandoned, closets stood empty, and yet it was supposed to be occupied. Then the strange activity began. Doors creaked open by themselves, the officers' breathing grew heavier, and the tension was undeniable.
Anyone inside, make yourself known.
Suddenly, footsteps echoed right behind them, but when they turned, no one was there. No intruder. Nothing at all. To this day, the footage remains one of the most unsettling mysteries ever recorded. Witch encounter. At a quiet gas station, a man filling up his car noticed something unusual and began recording. A woman was aggressively screaming at a police officer, her hand stretched out as if trying to mentally push him back. Strangely, the officer did step back, almost as if something unseen was forcing him. The woman kept advancing, her hand raised, her face twisted with rage. Some viewers claimed she was an escaped witch the officer had been sent to capture, while others believed she was possessed by something darker. Eventually, the officer had to mobilize her to regain control. The bizarre footage still leaves people divided. Woodland growl. Residents heard creepy noises coming from the woods and called the police, who arrived to investigate. As officers scoured the area, their body cams picked up a strange sound. A low, angry growl unlike any ordinary animal.
Why my house?
At first, people assumed it was a puma or a disturbed bear, but that idea fell apart when locals reported trees ripped up and overturned across the forest that hinted at something far larger than a wildcat. Rumors spread of Bigfoot or an unknown cryptid walking the timberline. The police released few details from their night investigation, leaving residents unsettled and the incident unsolved. Railing shadow. 3 friends were home alone when a sudden noise sent them into a panic. Thinking someone had broken in, they called the police. Officers did a thorough sweep, but found no signs of entry and left baffled. The friends decided to keep investigating on their own. One of them spotted movement and rushed upstairs, the others close behind. Later, when they reviewed the footage, something odd appeared on camera. A quick, mysterious shape darting behind the stair railing, too fast and too strange to be a person. Convinced they had captured a ghost on film, the trio were left shaken. This was the kind of encounter even the cops couldn't explain. Rotting halls. Jake, a ghost hunter, and his partner explored Liberty High, an abandoned school left to rot. They split up to cover more ground, and soon the silence was shredded by strange noises, distant footsteps, whispering knocks, and heavy thuds that echoed as if something were running down the corridor. The place should have been empty. When police arrived, the situation escalated. Doors slammed by themselves, unseen weight pressed against lockers, and one officer swore he'd felt a cold presence watching from the shadows. A deputy later admitted he couldn't shake the memory. His wife said he still talked about that night. Whatever was inside Liberty High didn't want them there, and made that very clear. Vanished bus.
Please, facing forward, thank you. That's what I like. Whoa.
Police body cam footage revealed a disturbing scene. After the driver's chilling 911 call, officers reached the bus within minutes. The engine was still running, doors wide open, but the seats were empty. Instead, 45 to 50 school bags lay scattered across the bus, as if the children had disappeared in an instant. The driver, pale and trembling, could barely form words.
The kids are gone.
They're gone. I don't know where they went.
How many kids total?
45, 50.
What do you mean they're
They're
gone?
gone. I was just driving down the street. I look up, and they're gone. It was just vanished.
He claimed he heard a low humming sound, turned around, and the bus was suddenly empty. No doors had opened. No one had stepped off. Just silence and abandoned belongings. Officers searched the area, but found no trace of the missing students.
Hello? Is anyone on the bus? Can anyone hear me? If you're on the bus, please pop up.
When they reviewed the footage, they were left speechless. Cannibal spirits. On December 31st, 2022, police officers in Poland were dispatched after a neighbor reported strange noises, deep guttural sounds, thumping, and high-pitched screeches coming from an abandoned house. The place was infamous, once belonging to a family of cannibals. That night, a 20-year-old girl named Camilla entered the crumbling home, attempting to summon their spirits. Her decision went terribly wrong. Soon after, she began behaving erratically and barricaded herself inside a room. Her friends swore it looked as if she had been possessed. Police tried to reach her, even attempting an attic entry, but she resisted.
Jezu, jak to ona tak warczy?
When finally removed and taken to the hospital, Camilla returned to normal. She remembered nothing, and doctors found no explanation. Dark tapping. One night, a police officer heard strange whispers coming from his bathroom. At first, he thought it was just the pipes. But then came the tapping. When he looked closer, a small hand smacked the shower glass, clear as day. He opened the door fast, but no one was there. Just silence. No footprints, no fog, nothing. The hand had vanished like it was never real. By morning, he had packed up and left the house. Mysterious car. Texas police stopped by a car parked oddly along a stretch of road. The windows were fogged, like someone had been sitting inside for hours. But the car was empty. There was no movement, sound. Officers backed off, thinking maybe it was just a strange case, and walked away. But later, while checking their dash cam, they noticed a handprint pressed from inside the glass. No one had been there, and no one ever came out. Whatever it was, it waited until they left, then made sure the camera didn't. Ghost encounter. During a normal traffic stop, body cam footage caught something that didn't feel normal at all. The woman inside the car looked empty with her eyes vacant, her hands pulling at her own hair. Then she started shaking, whispering random words, her body tensing like something else was in control.
Got you.
Officers tried calming her down, but nothing worked. This seemed like a breakdown, but paranormal enthusiasts believe the way she moved, the way she reacted, it didn't feel human. That footage spread fast, but no one could ever explain what really showed up inside that car. Haunting possession. In a disturbing case, a teenage girl tried to harm her aunt and younger sibling. Witnesses outside the house described screams, chaos, and panic. When officers managed to get her under control, she began shouting the name Valak, the demon mentioned in The Conjuring 2. She was panicked, mumbling strange words, and didn't seem like herself. After a while, she suddenly calmed down, confused, scared, and with no memory of what just happened. It was never officially called a possession, but the officers who saw her behavior don't believe it was just a breakdown. Haunted Watts house. Police were called to the Watts family home after reports of strange noises and sightings. During the investigation, officers heard a faint, childlike giggle echoing from a closet. No one was inside, just a lone toy on the floor. As they searched the dining room, body cam video captured a shadowy figure sitting at the table, and then fading into thin air while an officer paused, sensing someone or something was watching. Upstairs, a small silhouette crept down the stairs as if alive. Whispered voices followed. This is our home. Those walls still hold a darkness that never left. Gettysburg ghost. In 2020, rumors about paranormal events at Gettysburg Military National Park began spreading quickly. Many dismissed them, until one midnight recording seemed to prove otherwise. The camera captured a strange figure moving across the grounds. Its shape was unclear, not solid enough to call human, but not something you could easily dismiss either. A white, floating shadow appeared to wander aimlessly, almost gliding through the darkness. Witnesses believed it was the restless spirit of a fallen soldier, still haunting the battlefield after all these years. While driving through Gettysburg's old battlefield, Greg Uelling saw something he'll never forget. Out of nowhere, ghostly figures dashed across the road, faint, see-through, gone in a blink. The place once saw over 50,000 lives lost in just 3 days, and some say those spirits never left. Greg and his family were left stunned, unsure if what they saw was real or a glimpse of the past still trapped on those grounds. Either way, they didn't stick around to find out. Silent intruder.
At least I know I'm not crazy, because there's definitely somebody standing right there.
Late one night, police received a call from a resident who claimed someone had broken into their neighbor's newly built house. The neighbors were away on vacation, so officers were dispatched to check it out. They searched every corner, confirmed no one was inside, and found no signs of a break-in. But as one officer walked back toward his car, something caught his attention. A figure peeking at him from the doorway. Shocked, he quickly backtracked, but the house was empty just moments before.
At least I know I'm not crazy, because there's definitely somebody standing right there.
With no explanation and no intruder found, the officer left the scene unsettled by what he had just witnessed. Cemetery call. Firefighters received a late-night call from a woman claiming she was locked inside the cemetery. A rescue team arrived and conducted a full search, but they found no one. The on-duty guard told them this wasn't the first time. The same call had come before, and police had answered once, only to find nobody there. Puzzled, the crew checked every corner, gates, and paths, but there were no tracks, no signs of a struggle, nothing to explain where the woman could have gone. After leaving, the firefighters couldn't shake the feeling they'd been summoned by something not quite human. The case stayed unresolved, and locals whispered it might have been a ghostly prank or something far stranger.
A gente recebeu uma solicitação de que uma pessoa ficou presa dentro do cemitério, mas a gente passou por todos os portões do cemitério, não achamos ninguém no portão.
Headless encounter.
Hello?
Hi.
Are you okay?
A couple of residents living near the woods reported strange disturbances at night, so 2 officers were dispatched to investigate. At first, nothing seemed unusual, until one of them noticed a figure in the distance. It looked like a person dressed in white, hiding in the shadows, refusing to respond when called out. As the officer moved closer, the shape appeared more like a woman in white.
Hello?
You need help?
Her long hair covering her face. The visibility was low, but then came the chilling revelation. The officer exclaimed that the figure had no head. That single detail was enough to send both officers retreating, unwilling to step foot in those woods again. Sometimes the perpetrator wasn't human at all, or so it seemed to the cops who entered this house.
How are you? Do you have your ID with you?
I don't.
What's your name?
Irene.
Who are you?
I'm the voice of Pocahontas.
Really?
And a 53-year-old Native American woman who has had enough.
A woman had called them about a disturbance in her residential area. They investigated, found nothing unusual, and let her stay the night. But soon after, they were called back. This time, the camera caught something chilling. The woman sprinting away as a dark, fluid-like thing darted across the floor. Its movement was fast, unnatural, and unlike anything they had seen before.
It's your cell phone.
I don't know what that is.
Stop.
I don't know what that is.
Stop!
Was it an evil presence tormenting her, or something else entirely? The truth remained a mystery. Shadow visitor. A couple grew concerned when their neighbor hadn't been seen in weeks and called the police. During the welfare check at the man's trailer, officers were seen swarming the scene. But what the body cam captured left people unsettled. Near a police cruiser, a small dark silhouette appeared, resembling a child. Only no children were present. The figure seemed to fade in and out of view, completely unnoticed by the officers. Later, it was confirmed the neighbor had quietly passed. But many online began asking, was this mysterious figure somehow connected? Just a coincidence, or something far more disturbing? Grave runner. An officer was doing his usual patrol through a quiet cemetery when something strange caught his eye. A child standing eerily still among the headstones. He called out. No response. The figure just stood there. As the officer moved closer, the child suddenly bolted. A brief chase began, weaving between graves. But just like that, the kid vanished like smoke in the dark. He searched the grounds for hours. Nothing. No one ever came forward. And to this day, no one's figured out who or what he saw.
Kid! Holy God.
Drowned echo. A night security guard shared strange footage from an old warehouse. Locals had long whispered about a boy who had drowned nearby. The guard didn't believe them until one night. He noticed droplets and smudges of water on the floor, though no one was inside. Following the markings with his camera, he reached a dark corner where the feed suddenly revealed a small figure standing still.
Oh, jeez.
He fled and swore to avoid the place. A week later, he returned and saw it again. This time, at the emergency exit, his camera caught a shadowy silhouette of a child at the top of the stairs, accompanied by a loud, unexplained noise. Many believe the drowned boy's spirit haunted the warehouse.
It's been a little quiet. What the? Holy sh**.
Silent triangle. The night started off quiet until a trucker spotted something strange above the road. A glowing light without any sound. Wings, just slowly drifting across the sky. He rushed to tell the police.
My name is Melvin Knoll, and I'm a part-time truck driver. That certain morning, I happened to look over into the sky, and I seen a very, very bright light up there, like a very bright star.
At first, they laughed it off, but then more calls came in. Officers from nearby towns reported seeing the same thing.
Lebanon just received a call from Highland PD. Reference to a truck driver just stopped in. There was a flying object in the area of Lebanon.
It was a giant triangle of lights, flying low and fast. One officer tried chasing it, but it vanished like it was never there. 6 different people from 4 different towns reported one exact sighting. That night, something moved over the skies, and even the police had no way to explain it. Road phantom. A police car was driving down a dark, empty road when the dashcam picked up something terrifying. A ghostly figure suddenly appeared in the middle of the street. The officers had no time to react. The car struck it, but there was no impact at all. Nothing. They quickly pulled over and looked back. The road was empty. No sign of anyone. Scanning the area with their headlights, they turned the car around. That's when it happened again. The same figure appeared in the road crossing the street ahead of them. The officers had seen enough. They left immediately, but the dash cam didn't miss a thing. It captured the ghostly figure twice. Window figure. A man checking an old construction site paused when he noticed something odd. Someone was standing in an upper window. The figure wasn't moving. It was dressed in all black without any visible face. The building had no power, no access. Minutes later, the same group returned to check, but nothing was there. But in the footage, the stillness of the figure didn't feel human. It looked like a shadow trapped in place. Or maybe it was something ancient, using the darkness as a disguise. Whatever it was, it shouldn't have been there in the first place. Invisible guest. The night watchman claimed he was helping an elderly woman who asked for directions inside the building. But in the footage, no one else appeared on camera. Minutes passed as he continued speaking to someone invisible, gesturing, nodding, as if deep in conversation. Then came a radio call from his colleague. Whatever was said made him freeze. He immediately hit the elevator button, panicking, but after a beat, bolted toward the stairs instead. Without turning back, he fled the building entirely. No one knows where he went. His co-workers, shaken by the footage, believe he spoke with something not of this world. Highway Skinwalker. Okay, this might be one of the most chilling police encounters I've ever come across. Hands down. 2 officers pulled over a lone woman in the middle of the woods. Middle of the night. Already eerie, right?
Sheriff Landon, can you tell me what's going on?
So,
Are you
no,
all right?
I'm feeling good, yeah. Thank you, though.
Okay,
But things got weird fast. she started acting off, and not your typical under the influence kind of off.
You had 9 beers?
9 beers and...
Or 2 beers. I need you to follow my finger with just your eyes.
At one point, her eyes moved eerily in opposite directions. When they tested her for substances, nothing showed up. Then she said the number before the device even displayed it.
1.6. 5.
Stay right there.
And when they ran her ID, it said she'd passed away 3 years ago.
This chick's supposed to be dead.
What does that mean?
I don't know. The system says she died 3 years ago.
guys.
Drunk driving.
So who or what was sitting in that car? Most people who saw the footage were convinced this wasn't human. It felt like something trying to act human. Crying apparition. A chilling video emerged showing a police officer responding to a disturbance near an abandoned building. As he inspected the premises, everything seemed quiet until the faint sound of a woman crying echoed through the halls. Following the noise, he spotted a figure in a long white robe, hair disheveled, standing silently inside a dimly lit room. The figure did not react to his presence or commands, only adding to the unsettling atmosphere.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
The eerie encounter quickly went viral, with many convinced the officer had come face to face with a ghost, while others believed it could have been a distressed person seeking shelter. Winged visitor. A CCTV camera overlooking a police station parking lot captured something no one could explain. Late one night, a desk sergeant noticed a strange shape on the monitor. At first, it looked like a large humanoid figure hovering above the ground. But as it drifted closer, something changed. The figure sprouted massive wings. It wasn't walking, it was floating, and it moved fast. Unnaturally fast, before slowing just above the camera. Those who saw the footage were stunned. Some swore it was a skinwalker caught mid-shift, while others claimed it was the infamous Mothman. Storage haunt.
Hello?
Night shifts at the storage place were usually calm, just you, the lights, and silence. But lately, strange things had been happening. One worker was making his rounds when he spotted something terrifying. Giant shadowy hands covered in fur started reaching out of nowhere. They weren't human, not even close. He managed to record it before running for his life. When he showed the footage, others admitted they'd seen weird things there too. And that spot, it's now locked up tight. No one wants to go near it again. Something's definitely not right. Disturbing room. Guests repeatedly complained of strange noises coming from an empty hotel room. 2 staff members decided to investigate. One stepped inside, while the other monitored the CCTV. The room appeared recently used. Furniture was scattered, the shower running, and belongings oddly out of place, though no guest was registered there. Then the footage revealed something chilling. Just seconds before the staff entered, a faint, blurry figure slipped out of the room. It wasn't solid. It wasn't human. Some claimed it was the spirit of a guest disturbed by the hotel's ongoing renovations. Others believed the room had a darker history, one that was never meant to be reopened. Spirit taken. At 1 in the morning, an investigation team received a frantic call from a man claiming his sister had been possessed. When they arrived, they found her sitting on the floor, screaming, with family members huddled around her in panic. Her body jerked in unnatural ways, and to everyone watching, it looked like a genuine possession. The family insisted they had no idea what caused it, only that she had gone exploring earlier that day and by nightfall began acting strangely. With the help of a relative, investigators managed to escort her to a nearby hospital, as she was completely out of control. Her family remained certain she had brought home a dangerous spirit that had now taken over. Shadow intruder.
Oh, we don't! Ah!
One night, a family began hearing strange noises, ominous creaks, objects falling, and dark shadows moving across their walls. Fearing something sinister, they called the police. Officers arrived and searched the house, but what they found made little sense. Windows were broken, furniture was tossed around, and the place looked like it had been ransacked, yet no intruder could be found. While one officer stepped outside, he noticed movement in the corner of his eye. A shadowy figure darted past a window, too fast to be human. The officers themselves didn't seem to notice, but neighbors watching were convinced. They believed the figure was the shadow person causing the chaos inside, and now it was moving on. Empty chair. The clip came from a local restaurant, where a cop on night duty swore he saw a little girl sitting quietly on a chair. He walked over, spoke to her, and even paused as if listening to her replies. But when the staff reviewed the CCTV, the chair was empty the whole time. The footage showed the officer gesturing, nodding, and clearly interacting with someone who wasn't there. To this day, he insists the girl was real. The staff believed he had spoken with a spirit, one that revealed itself only to him. But skeptics questioned if it was ever a child at all, or if something else had simply claimed that chair. What do you think? Road apparition. An officer driving down a lonely country road late at night came face to face with something unsettling. Standing in the middle of the road was a figure in white, moving slowly, almost gliding across the pavement. At first glance, many assumed it was just a prank, someone draped in a white sheet trying to scare drivers. But as the officer drove closer, the figure slowly turned its head. That brief glimpse was enough to send him slamming the accelerator in reverse. Witnesses later described its face as long, gray, and twisted. Was this a witch lingering in the dark, or something far more sinister? Beach possession. This video was recorded on April 30th, 2025, on a beach in Manaus, Brazil. Authorities were called after a bystander noticed a strange woman by the shore. Witnesses claimed she looked as if she was possessed, while at the same time narrowly dodging drowning.
Ei, mulher, tá bem aí?
Even after help arrived, she remained completely still, almost unresponsive, as if in a trance. Officials attempted to make contact, but little information was released about what truly happened, or how the incident ended. Some believe it was a case of possession, while others think she was in shock. What do you think happened that night? Ghost van? Two cops were in pursuit of a van speeding through the woods late at night. It was the kind of tense, high-speed chase you'd expect from a thriller, until things got weird. The van suddenly screeched to a stop, and within seconds, the officers were inspecting it with flashlights drawn. But to their shock, the vehicle was completely empty. There were no drivers or passengers, and no sign of anyone escaping. The road was surrounded by dense forest, and there was nowhere to run without making noise. They searched the area thoroughly, but found nothing. Now, many believe they'd encountered a ghost-driven van. Backyard screamer. Not every cop is ready to face the unknown, and honestly, who can blame them? One officer was checking out a dark backyard after a homeowner reported strange disturbances. Everything seemed still, until a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. It was loud, sharp, and unlike anything human. Without wasting a second, the officer turned and bolted. Some screams don't just scare you. They hit something primal, something ancient. Whatever made that sound, it wasn't normal. Sinister presence. Ever wonder why they call it the graveyard shift? Well, this clip might be your answer. A security guard was working his usual late-night round when he heard a voice whisper, "Get out!" But the room was empty.
The guy heard a woman talking.
As he stepped out, footsteps echoed behind him. though no one was there. He pointed the camera at the staircase. Nothing. Still, the footsteps grew louder, faster.
Hello? Oh my god. What the?
Like something was chasing him. He bolted upstairs. But the creepiest part? As he fled, a face appeared in the glass panel of the door behind him. The camera caught it. He didn't. And I don't think that look was anything friendly. Hidden passengers. Heine called the cops in a full-blown panic, saying her car was packed with people. But when officers arrived, the seats were empty. No one in sight. Still, she kept pointing, insisting they were there. Terrified and begging for help. Her fear wasn't fake. It felt real, like she truly believed something or someone had taken over her car. The officers looked around, but saw nothing. And honestly, what can you even do when you're up against something no one else can see? Under curse. A small group was enjoying a quiet night in when things suddenly turned strange. Objects started moving without anyone touching them. Spooked, they called the police. The officers arrived and began their walkthrough, trying to keep things calm, until something fell off a shelf right in front of them, with no one nearby. Despite the eerie vibe, the cops found nothing unusual. No signs of forced entry, no intruders, just a heavy, unshakable energy in the air. The group didn't feel safer after they left. Some now believe the house was cursed. Night shift terror. A man working the night shift as a security guard in a closed building experienced something he would never forget. While making his rounds with a torch, he noticed something strange inside a storage room. A pale face framed by long, dark hair peeking at him from behind a stack of boxes. It lasted only a second before the figure ducked back out of sight. The guard scrambled out of the room, ran from the building, and quit his job that very night. Theories soon flooded in. Some believed he had seen a ghost, while others were convinced he had encountered a shapeshifter. Haunted hallways. Two security guards on night duty were startled by strange noises coming from the classrooms. The entire school was empty except for them, so they went to investigate, expecting to find a burglar. But what they saw was far from ordinary. As they peered into one classroom, a chair suddenly slid across the floor, seemingly pulled by an invisible hand. The eerie sight was enough to send the two guards scrambling out of the room, abandoning their inspection entirely. Word soon spread, and rumors began circulating that the school was haunted, with some claiming strange things had been happening there for years. Factory shadow. A security guard doing his nightly rounds at a factory captured something bizarre. Strange things had happened there before, but this night was different. As he checked the storage area, he noticed something hiding behind stacks of packed goods. At first, it looked like nothing more than a shadow, but then it shifted, subtly, almost like it was watching him. The guard claimed this wasn't the first time. He had seen the same shadowy figure multiple times, always lurking in the same area. To him, it wasn't random. He believed the entity was somehow tied to the factory itself. Scary encounter. Celeste used to do night shifts alone in a hospital, but one evening, her phone recorded something she didn't hear live, a deep growl that followed her down an empty hallway. Then the elevator opened by itself. Another night, she heard soft humming near the stairwell, like a lullaby meant for someone else. That's when she saw a 5-pointed star scratched into a door. Later, her camera caught something darker. It was a figure standing motionless behind a locked room. This figure was not just haunting the hospital, it's watching. Haunted garage. On April 12th, 2018, in New South Wales, Australia, something eerie was caught on CCTV at a police station just before dawn. At 5:30 a.m., the garage, closed for days, suddenly began opening by itself. The parking lot was empty, no one in sight. As the door lifted halfway, a broom flew out from inside. It didn't just fall. It moved as if something invisible had pushed it. For a moment, the broom even stood upright, then toppled, jerking unnaturally before hitting the ground. Officers later admitted the footage gave them chills. The garage hadn't been used in days, leaving no explanation. The police joked online, but viewers knew this was far from ordinary. Haunted shore. One night in Peru, guests at a waterfront hotel complained about strange noises echoing across the beach. The guard on duty was called to investigate. Recording his patrol, he picked up eerie calls and unsettling sounds in the dark. Then suddenly he saw her, a lady in white walking slowly along the shoreline. He called out, but before he could get closer, the figure vanished into the night, as if she had never been there at all. Shaken, the guard believed he had encountered the restless spirit of a bride who had passed away on that very shore, forever haunting the place. Haunted ward.
That's all it does.
This footage was captured by a night guard and a surgical staff member in an old hospital. The woman filming worked as a surgical tech in the children's wing. Not long before, a young girl had gone into surgery there, but didn't survive. Since then, eerie reports surfaced throughout the building. A hydraulic operating room door, designed to only open with a button, began moving on its own and even slamming shut without warning.
And it's just all it does is that.
Maintenance found nothing wrong. Months later, while exploring the lower levels, the tech recorded what looked like a figure in a white coat reflected in a bulletin board. She admitted feeling lightheaded. Many staff believe the girl's spirit never left. Phantom stroller. A night security guard was driving home when his dash cam captured something chilling. Out of the darkness, a baby stroller suddenly appeared in the middle of the road, moving at a dangerous speed as if on its own. The guard slowed but didn't approach, later saying he wasn't sure what to make of it. When the footage went online, viewers were divided. Some believed there could have been a child inside and urged him to investigate, while others warned it was a trap, possibly a skinwalker luring victims into the dark. Shadow lurker. During a late-night patrol, a police officer captured something unsettling on his dash cam. A strange shadow was seen lurking near a wall, darker than the night itself. It didn't move, yet it stood out too sharply to be dismissed as ordinary. The eerie stillness gave the impression that it was waiting, watching. When the footage surfaced, many viewers claimed it resembled the Grim Reaper revealing itself. They warned the officer to be careful, suggesting it was a bad omen. The officer admitted he was too shaken to circle back and check, leaving the mystery unresolved. Roof crawler. Late one night, a toll booth camera picked up something bizarre. A car rolled up to pay, but the driver's seat was empty. Confused, the guard stepped out to investigate. That's when he saw it. Something crouched low on the roof. The footage is grainy, but you can tell whatever it was. It wasn't human. Long limbs, twitchy movements, almost like it was studying him. The guard backed off immediately, shaken. The car drove off seconds later, still without a visible driver. And whatever was on the roof, it vanished into the night. No one's been able to explain it since. Shadow follower. A man looking out his apartment window recognized the security guard who worked there, but what unsettled him was something that seemed to be following close behind. It looked like a shadow, humanoid in shape, but too faint to reveal any real detail. The security guard, clearly sensing something, glanced over his shoulder. And in that instant, the smoky silhouette vanished. The person filming was convinced this was an evil spirit that had attached itself to the guard. Netizens, however, debated whether it was one of the infamous shadow people said to stalk humans for reasons no one truly understands. Possessed or paranoid. This viral footage showed a disturbing encounter between a woman and police officers at a laundromat. Witnesses had reported she might be under the influence of some kind of drug, but the scene felt different. As officers approached and asked her name, she didn't answer, just kept making strange, deliberate gestures.
Okay? You okay? What's your name?
When they took her in, there was no struggle, only eerie compliance. And as she sat in the back of the patrol car, she smiled. A slow, unsettling smile that made many wonder if this wasn't a case of drugs at all, but something darker. Some even whispered demonic possession. Station Spectre. This eerie footage, filmed during the graveyard shift inside a police station, quickly went viral. The CCTV showed officers chatting casually when, out of nowhere, the entrance door swung open with violent force. The sudden movement was so intense that every cop jumped to their feet, staring toward the doorway. Yet, no one was there. No footsteps, no shadow, not even a hint of a draft could be blamed. The officers later admitted they were rattled, with many convinced it was the work of a ghost. And honestly, watching the clip, it's hard to argue against that chilling possibility. Phantom Child. In Mentor, Ohio, police were left baffled after multiple residents reported seeing what they described as a young girl running alone in the street at night. Home security and doorbell footage showed a strange, childlike figure darting through the area, sparking fears that Lake County might be haunted. Officers were even dispatched to investigate, with one reporting that the figure moved unnaturally fast and upright for a child. Yet, when he approached the spot, the mysterious figure had vanished without a trace. No missing child reports matched the description, leaving locals unsettled and convinced they had witnessed something otherworldly. Falling light. A security guard on daytime duty experienced something unsettling inside a hospital long rumored to be haunted. While checking rooms from the hallway, he suddenly witnessed a ceiling light fixture crash to the floor. The room had been completely empty. No one was inside, no maintenance work was being done, and there was nothing that could have caused it to fall. The guard, already familiar with strange happenings in the building, believed this was clear evidence of poltergeist activity. In his mind, it was the same ghost he had previously seen during an earlier encounter in the hospital's eerie, deserted corridors. Lake Phantom. A security guard on night patrol received a call from the CCTV team. Someone had been spotted lurking outside the company building. He went to investigate, but the place looked completely empty until he peered over a wall and instantly recoiled in fear, crouching as if hiding from something. Moments later, the cameras revealed why. A pale, ghostly pair of legs darted across the edge of the premises. No upper body, no face, just legs. Even stranger, they appeared to emerge from a lake nearby. And let's be honest, what ordinary person runs straight out of a lake at 3 a.m. with no body? Bar Phantom. The security team monitoring the surveillance cameras at Daytona Beach's historic Plaza Resort and Spa were alarmed when they noticed something bizarre moving inside the bar. On screen, an apparition drifted behind the counter, at one point even taking the form of a human figure before vanishing out of frame. A guard was sent to inspect, but found no one there. Still, he claimed to feel an intense, unshakable presence in the room. Given the hotel's 100-year history and long list of eerie reports from both staff and guests, it's no surprise. Some say the bar has a regular, but not a living one. Headless shadow. During a late-night shift, an officer was making his rounds in an old hospital wing closed for renovations. He believed he was alone, until something strange happened. While inspecting a dustbin lid that had begun moving on its own, he barely caught a glimpse of a dark figure darting across the hallway. It disappeared behind a nearby wall in seconds. Later, when reviewing the footage, he noticed the figure appeared completely headless. Some claimed it was the spirit of a former patient returning to familiar grounds. Whether ghost or glitch, many were convinced this wasn't just a trick of the light. Phantom visitor. A hospital security guard was working a quiet night shift when something unusual caught his eye. CCTV footage showed a faint mist drifting across the room before vanishing into thin air. Moments later, the guard stood up suddenly, almost like he was greeting someone, but no one else was in the room. Even stranger, he began talking, responding as if having a conversation. When asked, he insisted he'd met a patient needing help. But the cameras told a different story. There was no one there. Some believe spirits can choose who sees them, and that night, the guard might have been chosen. Twisted sighting. After wrapping up his late-night shift, a security guard was driving home when something strange caught his eye on the deserted street. At first he thought it was just a stray dog, until he got closer. That's when he saw its face and froze. It looked almost human, but twisted and unnatural, like something caught between forms. Some say it was just the shadows playing tricks. Others aren't so sure. The footage he took quickly spread online, with many claiming it showed a Wendigo mid-transformation. Whatever it was, it didn't look right, and the guard swears it wasn't his imagination. Window watcher. At an eerie crash site where EMS crews and police were already on scene, a local reporter was setting the scene for the audience. But right then, the camera caught something unsettling. In the wrecked car's shattered window, a dark, twisted face appeared, just for a moment. Netizens froze the frame, trying to make sense of what they saw. Some believed it was the trapped spirit of someone who hadn't moved on, while others feared it was something far worse. No one was allowed near the car after that. To this day, no one can explain the face watching from within. Phantom blur. A security official monitoring a remote area through CCTV at night was left shaken by what he saw. Out of nowhere, a strange, distorted shape streaked across the street, glitching in and out like it couldn't decide if it belonged in our world or somewhere else entirely. The figure appeared to have a head and front legs, but nothing about it made sense. The guard watching was baffled, unsure if he'd witnessed a camera malfunction or something unexplainable. Was it a glitch or something we aren't meant to understand? Hooved intruder. A night guard in Mexico was called to check on a trespasser near a quiet lot. At first, it seemed like your average late-night wanderer, until nearby residents pointed out something bizarre. The figure didn't walk right, and when they looked closer, they realized it didn't have feet. It had hooves. The officer reviewed the footage himself, and yep, those legs weren't normal. They looked too thin. He's still unsure. Could have been a costume, maybe, but the way it moved, the stillness in the air, it didn't feel like a prank. It felt off, and definitely not human. Scary resident. Late at night, a homeowner noticed the front door of her Airbnb wide open, even though no guests were checked in. She called the police, fearing a break-in. 2 officers arrived and began clearing the house, guided by their body cams. The place was quiet, but something felt off. Every room had an eerie stillness, and the temperature seemed to drop the further they went in. The homeowner insisted no one was staying there, Yet the officers couldn't shake the feeling they weren't alone. No intruder was ever found. The footage captured the officers visibly unsettled. Many now believe that the house wasn't just empty. It was haunted by something unseen.
Upstairs clear? Yeah, we're good.
Ghostly pursuit. This footage came from a deadly police chase in Brazil, but what really caught everyone's attention wasn't the crash. It was what appeared in the background. A shadowy figure darted across the street at impossible speed and passed straight through a police car. The officers didn't seem to notice, but netizens were stunned. Some believed it was the ghost of someone tied to the incident. Others thought it was something more, like a superhuman being chased by police. If so, what chance would they even have? Then again, some think the whole thing was staged. What do you believe? Lingering presence. The following video was recorded by an officer after a fatal traffic accident. The footage captured something strange near the wreck. As the scene unfolded, with officers and bystanders gathered around, a pale, misty form streaked across the street. It glided silently among the crowd, half transparent, fast, and oddly unnoticed. No one turned, flinched, or reacted. At first, it might have seemed like a person caught in motion blur, but its movement was unnatural. Some believed it was the spirit of someone trying to flee the crash. Others thought it was something else entirely, a fleeting presence caught between here and somewhere else. Night shift. This nurse was used to quiet night shifts until her phone picked up something chilling. A growl, low and close, followed her through empty halls. She didn't hear it live, only later on the recording. Then the elevator opened on its own. Another night, she heard humming, soft, eerie, like a twisted lullaby echoing up the stairwell. That's when she saw it, a 5-pointed star scratched onto a door. Later, her camera caught a dark figure behind a locked door. Whatever's there, it's not just haunting the hospital, it's watching. Cemetery encounter. A security guard on night duty at a cemetery reported hearing strange noises echoing through the grounds. Thinking it was an intruder, he went to investigate and noticed one of the doors inside the crematorium had been left open. Calling out, he stepped further in, but no one answered.
The door was open again. Hello, security! Okay.
The deeper he went, the stranger it became. In one room, lights were flickering overhead, and then, out of nowhere, came a blood-chilling cry. It wasn't human. The demonic sound shook him so badly that he bolted out of the building in terror, refusing to step back inside.
I'm really not sure what's going on here. Nope. Yeah, this is some spooky going on here.
Some say he encountered a restless spirit. Others wonder if something far darker escaped that night. The Kandahar Colossus. In 2003, U.S. troops stationed near the remote Kandahar caves in Afghanistan captured something that still baffles many. Standing beside a tank was a towering humanoid, giant in size, human in shape, but far from normal. The soldiers watched in disbelief as this massive figure appeared to vanish straight into the ground. That footage never made it to the news, but whispers of the Kandahar giant still echo through military forums today. Ghost crossing. A security guard doing his late-night shift in Bogota was scanning the street cameras when something strange caught his eye. A lone figure was walking quietly down the road, which seemed normal at first. But then, right in front of the camera, the figure vanished. Gone, like it was never there. Thinking it was a glitch, he checked another camera across the street. Same thing, same moment, same vanishing act. That's when he knew. This wasn't tech trouble. Some roads, especially after dark, have entities you can't explain. Haunted hospital.
Oh, shit. Oh.
2 investigators ventured into an abandoned old hospital, but this was no ordinary exploration. Almost immediately, strange activity began. Loud bangs echoed through the empty halls, followed by doors creaking and objects shifting on their own. The atmosphere grew heavier with each step, as if the building itself was alive. Then came a sudden, deafening crash that shook the place, startling even the seasoned investigators. They knew it wasn't safe to linger any longer. Shaken and unnerved, they decided to leave, convinced the hospital still held the restless energy of whatever or whoever had once been inside. Church basement. A man was exploring an abandoned church with just a handheld camera. Everything felt off. Broken windows, dusty benches, and an uncomfortable silence. But when he walked into the basement, the real creepiness began. The video showed a dark space filled with old stone pillars, and near one of them stood a tall, human-shaped shadow. It didn't move, and the man never noticed it at that moment. But later, while watching the footage, it became clear. He thought it could be a trapped spirit or something ancient that still lingers beneath churches long forgotten. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.